Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to give an overall update on ETH hash ASICs. We're going to go through all the different coins, look at hash rates, look at what I'm mining with my little Jasminer, kind of give just an overall update. And kind of the big news is that there has been another rug pull. Shocker, it's with another ETH hash ASIC coin. We'll talk about it and give our thoughts as a whole, as well as look at like prices and such, just to kind of give an update on the mining aspect. Okay, if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So we'll start off by taking a quick look at the overall market with the top coins, right? So ETH hash and ETC hash is one of those algorithms that does have multiple coins, right? This is one of the big benefits with any of these ASICs, although there are limitations depending on the hardware just because of the DAG size, so the amount of RAM each ASIC has. A lot of these new ones unfortunately have under 6 gigs, which kind of limits you from mining all of the potential coins, right? The standout being ETH, and we'll talk about it here in a second. So let's get to it. We'll start off with ETC because that is the bigger cap coin. That is the one with the most emissions. Currently, it's at about $20.91. We're going to pull up all of these on the 3-month chart just because of the tariff slump, right? We're trying to see which coins have kind of recovered from that slump ever since going back to about February. Okay, so for the most part, and this is kind of a good guide to look at any coins, you want to see which ones have recovered and have exceeded that price point. Since then, currently it's at 20 bucks, so not the greatest. Still has potential there. It's not one that I'm like following closely or I'm super bullish on it, or I would really even be holding, right? So this is one that when things get profitable, hopefully if ETH does well, then it can get to a point where it's just profitable, sell it, dump it, if it kind of does this thing again. Will it, won't it? Honestly, hard to say. Again, the biggest thesis with this thing, as shitty as it sounds, it's newbies kind of seeing a cheaper Ethereum, right? Seeing Ethereum being at $2,800 currently as is, and seeing this thing called Ethereum Classic, it's only 20 bucks. It's on a lot of the big exchanges. And as shitty as it sounds, that's literally its biggest thing. So this is something that when retail comes in, the newbies come in, this is something that can cause it to pump. Will it, won't it? We don't know. As far as like building, like yes, there is developments, there is stuff going on along with it. Nothing major, nothing that would really interest me at all whatsoever, right? Currently, especially as is, there's so many other projects that are currently undervalued. It's not one I would eye, but we do want to keep an eye on it just again for profitability. When the time comes, this is your biggest emission coin, right? So this is one you're likely to eventually hop onto at some point, depending on what's going on. And just depending on your strategy, right? Some of you guys don't necessarily care. You're just mining and hodling one of the other coins, right? And we'll talk about probably one that a lot of you guys are mining. And in reality, this was my biggest interest with this thing, and this is with Octa. So Octa is currently at 58 cents. You can see here it hasn't fully gone out yet. It's still kind of underperforming. It's at 58 cents currently. This is one that's appealing on the degen aspect just because, again, it's a very small market cap. But it's a more solid project. It's actually doing something. There's backing by it. Like there's actual development with it. Although it's been struggling. And a lot of these like GPU marketplaces have kind of been struggling just because people are coming to the realization that a lot of it's kind of going to be bullshit, right? The reason being is that it's not really going to go to us plebs necessarily. We kind of have seen a shift in probably its final form as far as like AI rentals and things of that sort. So maybe it'll pick up with that AI narrative. It should probably play along with the coins, but definitely a lot of that hype has definitely drawn down, and not only from this project, we've seen it with a lot of the others because there's a shit ton of them. It's pretty clear to see which ones are already the winners and which ones are already bringing in major revenue, and they're probably going to continue to bring in the majority of the revenue based on their model. At this point, there's too many GPUs there. There's not enough demand. Like, yes, AI is going to be a big thing. There's going to be a lot of demand, but for those crazy expensive setups. Okay, we'll see how it plays out in these coming months, but that narrative kind of seems like it's going to die until we get some kind of other AI pump where just anything with the AI in its name tends to pump. But definitely my perspective has fully changed, and we're kind of waiting to get more consensus, to get more clarity on that. And I think to me at this point it's pretty clear, right? Especially this late in the game, you should be positioned. So again, hopefully it still does do well. Hopefully it does its thing, because again, it still does have a lot of potential. There's a lot of holders of this thing. Emissions wise, it looks good. A lot of the supply is out already. The circulating supply is 38 million out of a 48 million max, so it looks good there. Tiny market cap, $22 million market cap, ranked number 1164, so still does have a lot of potential upside, right? So we'll see how it plays out. This is another weird ass one, and this is the one I'm actually still mining. The plan was really to mine it for a little bit, get a little bag, and in reality go back to Octage, because reality, that's out of the coins, that's the one I'd be most bullish on. Throughout most of this time, it's been the most profitable coin, right? And that's been kind of the appeal with the Jasminer, and that's why it's such a shitty thing that all these new ETC and ETH ASICs, you can't mine it with it because it doesn't have enough RAM. All these new models are coming in with right under 6 gigs. You need 8 gigs or more. So currently it's essentially only the Jazz miners mining this thing, which kind of is a reason that kind of makes me more bullish on it, just because of the limitations, right? All these guys with these newer ASICs are not going to be able to mine it, right? So it's going to kind of limit the amount of hardware that could actually come online and mine it, right? So kind of weird. And it's another coin would not want to necessarily be holding it super long term. I'm still stupidly holding it. I'm gonna be dumping it here pretty soon. Actually, I'm just waiting for it to go back up to this $2.20 level, which it was just a few days ago. I'm probably gonna dump, and probably at this point gonna just continue to sell into the coin I'm going to accrue into, because again, it doesn't do anything, right? There's no backing. They have a Twitter account that gets tweeted like once a year. There's zero development, zero talk about this thing. Although, again, one of the other reasons I am still mining it is because it's easy to exchange. It is listed on Kraken for those of you guys in the US. It does take like freaking 3 days worth of confirmations to get into the account, but it's an easy way to liquidate. It's kind of another thing with Okta is that it's kind of hard to liquidate if you're here in the US. Okay, so still mining it currently. We'll see. I'll probably forget about it and just continue to keep mining it anyway, but it's there. Again, it's another one I would have zero faith in. This isn't one that I'm going to hold with the intention of holding it for the bull market, just because, again, it doesn't do a damn thing. Why it pumps, why it does so well, I have no idea, but it's doing it. Let's go on to the next one, and it's Larissa, which surprisingly, this isn't the one that rugged, although it's looking like it's on its way, right? So current market cap is only $95,000. It's down to 0.007284. Lot of red flags with this project. I had somebody from their team or their Discord, somebody hit me up with asking my opinion on it, and all the red flags, right? So that kind of led me to dive a little bit more. One that had zero interest in it from anyway, but like diving into it, just even more red flags, right? So they're trying to get into like decentralized storage now with their new silo token, which they've been doing pre-sales on it for the past 6 months. If you go on YouTube, you can see they're paying all the worst of the worst shillers to try to promote this thing. Just red flag after red flag after red flag. Regardless of what they're doing, maybe it's a legit project, but whoever's making these marketing decisions, worst of the worst, you deserve to go to zero, right? So kind of taste your own, but when I see stuff like that, immediately zero interest, right? Hopefully it does well if any of you guys are holding this thing, or when you guys have those nodes. I know a lot of people were super shilling those stupid nodes like a year ago or whatever, so hopefully it does well for you guys, but zero interest for me. Now, the coin that actually rugged, shout out to Dubby. He actually called this out on the last video we did regarding it, and here it is, right? So it's not just, it's a full-blown rug. Market cap is, you're reading that right, $114, right? So this thing is a wrap. Okay, and we can confirm it by trying to go on the Explorer. You can see here, down 99.3%. Ether price is actually zero, $114 market cap. We can even look at the pools. Again, if you're mining this thing, get off of it, right? All the hash rate seems to be on K1 pool still. Although I thought I did see an announcement that they were closing it, but I guess not. When you try to go on the website, it is fully suspended. So again, this thing is officially a wrap. It is officially another rug. And it'll join the long list of ETH hash coins that are falling under this, right? So it's happened. If you guys remember, like PAL blocks. Another one started with a C, Canxium or something. There's been just a lot of them, right? I don't know what it is about these ETH hash ASICs that people love going on there, but this is the reason that we're so skeptical, especially if any of these that come on here, just because, again, it's just kind of happened in the past, right? So Okta, I feel confident is going to be around. They've been doing their thing. They're actually doing things. It's actually a usable product. ETC, again, has been around for a very long time. A lot of big backers. So that's there. ETHW has been performing well. Yes, it is on Kraken, but anything can happen, right? So if we go back to the chart, will it hit this? I highly freaking doubt it. Could it hit like $4 or $5 in the short term? Sure. Is it? Should I stop being stupid and fully swap it into something else? Probably, right? So we're gonna have to play it by ear. This is one that I'll probably again forget still, but for now it's still doing well. So now let's look at some of these hash rates, and this is where things have been getting tricky. So let's look at ETHW, for example. And so far, it hasn't gone up crazy. Just because, again, the limitation in the hardware that can actually mine it, right? Again, that's one of the main advantages with the Jasminer is having that 8 gigs of RAM. And that's why if you were to get one, I'd recommend getting the bigger RAM model, not the 6 gig, not the little cheaper one, just because, again, of that limitation. At least for now, while it's here, again, we don't know what the hell's going to happen with this coin. Maybe it stays the most profitable all the way through. No freaking clue, but pretty much this whole time, it has been the most profitable coin, okay? Kind of a different story with ETC's hash rate. Okay, if we look at it, it's been on a steady increase, right? Since October, let's say Halloween time, till these times, it's gone up a decent chunk. Okay, from 170 terahash to 200s, in some cases 300 freaking terahash. And again, a lot of this is because of the new hardware. They can't go to ETHW, so they're mining ETC or they're mining Okta. Okta currently hasn't been too profitable ever since they had that rewards reduction. You can see here the hash rate did drop down pretty drastically. It's currently about 6.3. It did go down to a low of about 4.32. And again, it's just depending on the profitability, right? So currently, as we look at it, again, this is at a 14-cent kilowatt hour. So even, because that's currently mine, that's what I'm putting it at that. So ETHW, even right now at this higher price, being $1.93, I'm still at a loss. I'm at a 15-cent loss, but again, it's close enough for me where it's essentially DCAing, right? So is that the most ideal thing in the world? Absolutely not. But I'm just looking at it as DCAing, right? So I would be DCAing X amount anyway. It's a DCA that I can write off essentially. The hope is at some point, maybe the next few months, there will be at least times of profitability. We'll see how that pans out. But again, I'm DCAing with the anticipation of ETHW kind of going up, but in reality, whatever I decide to go into, most likely haven't fully decided if it's going to be a new position or I'm just going to dump it all into an existing position and kind of grow it from there, right? Because we're at the point where a lot of these coins can do quite well from here. Okay. Now, as we look at the performance of the Jasminer, it's been excellent. Right, haven't really had to reset this thing. You can see the runtime is 11 days, but that's just because for me having to do electrical work. But as far as like me having to manually reset it because something's going on, I haven't had to do so in the 5 months. Literally just once a month, go out, blow it out, make sure it looks good, and that's been it, right? If you guys remember initially, I did actually have it here behind me. It was getting a little toasty in here, so I decided to move it to the garage. And that's kind of where I was kind of like iffy on it to see how it would do. Again, it does have 3 fans. They are 3 very weak fans. And me being down here in Florida and the fact that it's in the garage with other ASICs, I was curious to how to see it was going to hold up. Right? Was it going to have to add some additional fans, do something else? All my big boys are pretty much unplugged. It's only a bunch of little at-home guys in there. It's currently like 2,000 watts worth of heat in there, so not a whole lot going on, and currently it's doing well, right? Us down here in Florida, we've been in summer mode for this past month already. We've been pretty much summer temperatures already, so it's been holding up very well, which I was kind of curious as to how it's going to do. The real test would be is how it does once all the other big boys are gunning at full speed, right? Those guys hold up well. I'm not sure how these smaller guys are going to do, right? We're going to have to probably add some fans or add some more airflow. We'll see how it goes, but at least for now, it's been doing good. Zero issues. You can see the hash rate, the reject rate. On the mining side, this is I'm on K1 pool with the ETH ASICs, just because they are one of the better ones. So 157 ETH is what we've been getting. We've been averaging about 1 ETH a day. Recently with this dump, we were like in mid-April, we were getting like 1.2, 1.25, but ultimately because the hash rate going up, it's been dipping lower into about 1 ETH, right? You can see like yesterday was 1.02, 0.98, 0.98, 0.98, 0.95. So it's been in that range. So overall, not bad, not the worst, obviously not ideal, right? Obviously you want to be at least at a slight profit, but at least it's not at a major loss, which kind of is the case with a lot of the other altcoin ASICs, right? So a lot of this has to do, the reason I'm at a loss is just I have a very high electric rate, right? It went up on me at the beginning of the year. If you're at a 10-cent kilowatt hour, you'd be making slight profit. Again, the goal is to be break even or better. Hopefully at some point we are making at least some kind of profits on top of the price appreciation we get from hodling these coins. Like, yes, it's only worth that amount. Most likely, again, I'm going to go into another coin, whether it's a more degen play or an existing play. Again, even on, aside from BTC, pretty much anything else, you're looking probably at a 3 to 5x, even on safer plays. Obviously, a lot higher with other things, so the fact that it's 157, I'm okay with that, right? It's not too bad overall. If we plug it into a calculator, let's see how much we've made. So 157, about $300. You figure you get a 4 to 5x. A 5x would put me at break even, right? Even at this point, even if I don't mine anymore from this point on, right? Which isn't too bad, right? So depending on perspective, obviously we wanted to do better, but it is what it is. Now let's look at prices of these ASICs. Again, with profitability being kind of so low, realistically, a lot of these prices should be better. Okay, if we look at overall profitability, not too great. You see the Easy 100 Pro, like, oh, that one's making $6. That guy's like a $12,000 ASIC, right? So between the Easy 100 Pro, Easy 100, the V2 is down to like $6,000, but again, $6,000 to make $5 a day, not the most appealing thing in the world. The E11 needs to come down in price. Also, we'll look at the prices here in a second. The V2H isn't too bad. And again, it's just in terms of, like, I get it. Looking at the profitability is not looking too great. My main appeal with ETC is the fact that it's not super popular, right? For you guys who have had your Jasminer for an extended period of time, it's one of the few ASICs that you've actually been able to do that with, right? Look at a lot of these other altcoin ASICs and look at your longevity, right? Script kind of being the exception. Most of the others, you haven't had a whole lot of time to mine, especially with smaller at-home ASICs, right? We've been lucky with some of the others, right? Like with the K7, the KA3. Even 2.5 years later, although it's still not super profitable, it's been the best ASIC for that amount of time, right? Which is kind of a rare thing to do, to be able to mine for things for an extended period. And it just has to do with it not being the most popular one, right? And it kind of gives you that longevity aspect. So we look at the prices of these things, and this is where some of them don't make sense, especially the Jasminer X16Q. It needs to go down under $1,000, right? Especially considering the new iPolos, which they've been doing a horrible job of promoting those things, and they're actually pretty decent machines, right? And the prices are actually not bad at all. The V2H, for example, like, yes, it's not making a whole lot, but for $2,000, which is the price of just not too many GPUs, I mean, it's extremely efficient, 3,400 megahash, 475 watts. Okay. Not too bad overall. This guy should probably go down the V2X 1200 mega hash under 65 watts. Again, the V2H being the standout deal. It's essentially 3 of the V2Xs at only double the price. Okay, and then especially when you compare it to everything else. You look at the Bombax unit, which is 3800 mega hash, so pretty close there. But 475 watts versus 760, and it's significantly cheaper. This Bombax price makes 0 cents, right? As a matter of fact, they haven't really done much, right? They were at the previous mining disrupt. They weren't at this most recent one. 0 promotion, 0 talks from them, no activity on Twitter, kind of nothing, right? They kind of fell off the face of the earth. Will they continue to be around? It's hard to say, right? The E11 is still trying to get $6,000 for it, which again, horrible deal. Doesn't make any sense. You can see the ASIC right next to it. Being 10 gigahash, which is more hash rate than the 9 gigahash. And then the iPolo V2 is only 1500 watts versus the 2340, and it's only $200 more. Okay. Price definitely needs to come down, arguably even on the V2, right? Just because, again, current profitability where it's at. Obviously, if ETC rips or any of the others rip, then it'll be more justified, but kind of not looking too great, right? So what's missing here, though, are the newer Jasminers. The X44 series. The X44P has been listed up here for a long time and never released. So although it's on the calculators and everywhere else that it released in November, it has not. And there's been 0 promotion from them also, which is extremely disappointing. It was extremely disappointing to not see anything from them at Mining Disrupt, even just showing face like, hey, yes, we're still here. Hey, we're not having issues with it. It's just taking a long time. Whatever the BS reason is, but at least something just to say, hey, we're still on pace for Q3, Q4 at the end of this year. Kind of something, right? It's been absolutely 0 promotion from them, 0 word from them, which is disappointing, right? And that kind of doesn't give a whole lot of faith in these ETH hash ETC ASICs, right? So we'll see. A lot of it, again, is going to have to do with the price action. That alone in itself will garner more attention. But we're going to have to wait and see. But for now, again, the advantage with these little guys is the fact that even if it's at a slight loss, again, something that's like 600 watts, not that big of a deal. And realistically, me being at the electric rate that I'm at, this is probably going to be the name of the game for me, right? So the advantage with ETH hash and ETC hash ASICs is the efficiency with a lot of them. There typically isn't a lot of appeal, which is what makes it appealing for me, right? Because if you go after the more popular ASICs, the one everybody's going for, what tends to happen, hash rate, everything goes through the roof, right? So kind of to each their own. We'll see how things play out. We're definitely going to keep our eyes on these prices. We're going to see if Larissa is the next one to rug or not. And I gotta make a choice to see what the hell I'm going to do with this. Most likely, again, I'm just going to be dumping it on a monthly basis into something else. We'll see. Let me know in the comments, so guys, what you guys are doing. I know that a lot of you guys are still stacking Octa. Realistically, that's probably the move in the long term, in the next 6 months, once we see everything going on. Realistically, this is probably still going to be the move, right? I would like to see a US-based exchange or an easy way to liquidate this thing other than having to do degen crap or like do it through dexes and such. I would rather just have the ease of dropping into an exchange to liquidate. But we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments, though, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I am out.